If you'd like to hear any sort of lore, make sure you're in the Discord. And once a week, I ask a question. First person to get it right gets to pick the lore. And this week's lore is on Beckett from Fallout 76. Now, I like that I get to do it this way because when I ask a question, because I don't know anything about 76 because I'm just not playing it. And I've talked about how I feel about playing it, not playing it, whatnot. But this lets me kind of dip my toes into it. I'm not as familiar because I'm not currently playing it. So I can see that there is somewhat of me missing context or maybe the way things are written. Because there's one point where it's written and I'm just like, what did any of that mean? And I'll get to that in a minute. But that's mostly my meme of the wiki not being written to the best quality. So Beckett, he didn't have much as a child growing up in Maryland. He took care of his brother Frankie as he never knew his mother and his father died at an early age. Frankie Beckett had contracted rabies while playing in a factory and the brothers were attacked by wild dogs. Beckett, so here's the thing. Their last name is Beckett, but Beckett goes by Beckett and Frankie goes by Frankie. So it's kind of like the Super Mario brothers are Mario and Luigi Mario. Beckett nursed him back to health and promised his brother that he would never leave his side, that they would both stick together no matter what. His Beckett, to help Frankie, he actually stole rabies medicine from a bunch of different places to make sure that his brother would be fine. Now, I don't recall, let me Google it quick, let me just double check, but I don't recall if Beckett doesn't have an age. I didn't recall if it showed up. His level is 66, but there should be a picture on screen of him. I doubt this man is 66. So, like, I don't know what age this dude is. If it's 25 years after the bombs drop, and if he's 22, then he's a post-war baby. I wonder if they have a term like baby boomers were after World War II. I wonder if there's like a term for post-war babies, like not colloquially, maybe colloquially. You know what I'm trying to say? No, it doesn't have an age though. So okay, sure. They committed many a theft and were quite good at it. I wonder if, like, after the bombs fell, if you were good at something, if that translated well. Like, I wonder how many people had an easy assimilation into a post-nuclear world. That's what I'm so, I don't want to say upset about 76 with, is that I feel like there's so many more than decent, so many great stories to be told that just aren't told just because of... maybe you're just too far from it. Like, I think a Fallout comic, or maybe the show, maybe that's what the show is going to do, to show, like, this is a guy who sold cars can now sell chems, or this is a guy who was a butcher and now he's butchering whatever animals they can find, and because of his knowledge of preparing and salting meats, he found a way to kind of lower the radiation levels or what have you, or something. Like, something translates from one to the other. I feel like in 76 it's just kind of like, and again, I haven't played a ton of it, but it's just kind of like the bombs fall 25 years later and we're just into it. And I feel like some of it's missing. I don't doubt that there's something in there that is scratching this itch that I'm looking for. I just don't know of it. Now, Frankie wanted more because he had quite a bit of bloodlust. And from the wiki, Beckett, this is exactly from the wiki, Beckett said no. When Beckett finally joined a real gang, he left Frankie behind for his own good. What? I want to read this, like, directly off the thing. This is the second. I get all of my lore off of fallout.fandom.wiki. It says, realizing that they were actually good at stealing, they worked together as a pair in order to commit small-time crime. They usually stuck to theft, but Frankie had a raging bloodlust and wanted more. Beckett said no. When Beckett finally joined a real game, he left Frankie behind for his own good. So what is that? So they're sticking together. They made the pact, the two of them, that they were going to stick together. But then Beckett leaves him. If Beckett leaves him to go, there's not even like an annotation to say like where this is quoted from. If Beckett left him to go join this gang, and just like, all you could have added was Beckett joined a gang for Frankie's protection. He said, you are not to join the gang. I don't really feel like he left him. But he joins a gang, and it's Hopkins Hooligans, a small operation of raiders that went well until Hopkins was killed, which Hopkins Hooligans is a great name for a band of raiders. I really enjoy that name. I think it's fantastic. It's cartoony and it's silly, but, it's still, exactly what you're getting. And then he joined Edwin's gang, which isn't as good as a name. It was a bigger group. There was bigger spoils to be had. Edwin was crazy, but a good man, and those who served under him within his ranks were happy. Beckett later made the trek to Appalachia and took his brother Frankie with him. He left Frankie in the Savage Divide in Foundation so he could run with Edwin's gang to collect a little more money, and he became addicted to chems and lost control of his life. Blood Eagles were supplying smaller gangs with drugs, and they were watched to see if they were to get hooked. This is what I believe like the Manson family did, where Charles Manson would give the girls, it was more than just the girls, he would give the people in the cult drugs. And I was watching a documentary on the Manson family once, and the woman that was interviewed was saying that, like, we would take LSD, we would take all these other, like, mind-opening hallucinogenics, but Charlie never took any of them. But he kind of got you where you wanted it more and more. And it's kind of what the Blood Eagles are doing, which I've talked about. I've done an episode on the Blood Eagles. It might be one of the last episodes at Olive in it, now that I think of it. I don't remember which one she's in the last, but I think it's one of the last 5 maybe. But when I talk about it there, one of their main things was they were giving people drugs, and even if you didn't do drugs, they force you to do them. You got hooked. Now you're a Blood Eagle, or you work for them, you work under them. If the Blood Eagles had noticed that you had become addicted to these chems, what they would have done is given you a highly concentrated chem, a highly concentrated drug, to get you even more hooked. And then you were forced to work for the Blood Eagles just to get your fix. He later gained his sobriety, but not without certain trials and tribulations. One of them being the murder that he had commit, where he just murdered an entire settler family. And if I remember correctly from the wiki, he doesn't remember any of it. Also, there's something really neat that I learned while doing this is there's a timeline article on the wiki that's just every year. And it's every major event that happened in that year all the way up until present time. And there's one that goes up to 2377 because on the vault for Vault 101's radio, it said that's the year that the U.S. should be 300 years later should be inhabitable. That's as far as I think it goes. I could be wrong. There could be more stuff, but I think that is it. There's like talks about Hoover Dam in there. A lot of really, really neat stuff for the future. That's all projection. But there's a thing on there for states. And I didn't think to look up states. And what's really cool is like I learned that Raven Rock is actually in Pennsylvania, and I didn't know that. And that's where I'm from. So like that was really cool to see that. I was like, oh my God, like arguably the climax of the game takes place in Pennsylvania, but like they talk about Maryland and it's that area, the DMZ is in Korea. Beckett cleans up. He left the Blood Eagles and wants a hand in their downfall. He began to fight back. He got too overzealous and was captured by Blood Eagles and was tortured and set to be executed at the Rollins labor camp. The Vault Dweller, I don't like the way it's written on the wiki, which has been a theme this entire episode. But I don't like how it's written as is, like it happened, it's happening now. I like when the wiki is written in the past, because I feel like that's what a wiki should be. That's a personal thing. This is a stylistic choice. Like this, you know what I mean? Like this is a thematic choice. This isn't anything like, I just don't prefer it. But I'm not a huge fan of this because it's written like how it happened. And also, what are we referring to the Vault Dweller from 76 as? Because we have like, the Vault Dweller, we have the Chosen One, we have the Lone Wanderer, we have the Courier, and then we have the Sole Survivor. We already have a Vault Dweller, so are we just referring to him as the Vault Dweller from 76, or are we just referring to him as 76, or her? what, but if this is to be what I think the canon will be later is, I'm not complaining. I just want to make that apparent. I'm just asking questions because to me, this is really fascinating because I don't think all of 76 is going to be canon, but what will be canon is the great, what is the word I'm looking for? The Jews leaving Egypt. Oh my God. This mass exodus of people out of 76, that's canon. What else is? What do we refer to that time period, that those group of people? The exiles of 76? Like, that's what I want to know. I want to know more about that. Like the next game or subsequent game, even if it's a spin-off game or something, I'd love to know more about it through that. So the Dweller from 76 can hear this on the Pip-Boy radio, rescue him, and he can be taken to another Blood Eagle camp, the Sludge Works. If you help him, he then can help take down the Blood Eagles in some capacity, and then you go to your settlement, you set up his personal bar at your camp, and you can help him make amends with Edwin's gang. Other than that, there's not much else about our pal Beckett here. Outside of, there's some interactions with him. One that I thought was neat is I'm so used to seeing like essential or non-essential on the wiki. I saw here is this character is a ghost, meaning that you can walk through them, which I thought was neat. He can also be romanced, which I think is neat because how are you going to do that in an MMO like this? But cool. I'm happy that people that like 76 keep getting good stuff for it. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon, even though like I feel like that's kind of my brand. I don't want to sound like an old man when I get that that's really cool. Like, people that really like 76 are getting good shit for 76 constantly. It's harder for me to get into it. I have a friend from work who we were talking about maybe jumping into it together to get our feet wet. And I mean, I think he plays. He's like level 200 or something, I believe. But he enjoys the hell out of it. And I can't be upset at him for it. I'm happy that those who like it continue to like it. Beckett's involved in a few quests. Narrow Escape, The Eagle Flies Free, A Dirty Little Secret, Exit Stage Left, Out of Key, The Trader's Demise, Supply and Demand, Spilling Blood, Pet Peeve, Shooting Star, Bot of Gold, Sibling Piracy, I like that, Needs of Many, Eye for an Eye, Thicker Than Water, and he has 4 Radiant quests, Cropping Spree, Loose Ends, Saving Skin, and Stalking Stuffer. It's a decent meme. He also has a combat shotgun. I respect the hell out of any man with a combat shotgun. But other than that, that's him. I hope to see the companions kind of evolve. Because I remember when 76 was coming out, they were like, we are willing to support this game until time ends. And I mean, that's not going to happen just because it is a business. They have to say at some point, like, hey, we're not, like, we have to turn the servers off. But it'd be nice if they had a feature where, like, hey, if you keep paying the $15, like, at that point, there's no public servers, pay the $15, you can play with your friends. Or don't pay the $15, you can play by yourself. That's when I have a feeling copies of the game are going to skyrocket, if they ever do that. When they say we're going to turn them off. Turn off the servers. I don't know. I don't know much about servers. I wouldn't be surprised if that never happens. But I hope to see these companions develop deeper storylines. I think with Beckett's history of him being a chem addict, it would be really, really cool to see him and say, they do another time jump of 5 years and like one of his quests that he comes to is like, hey boss, I don't even know if he calls you boss, but he's like, hey boss, I gotta be honest with you, I've been doing chems again and I'm not in a good way. And like, then you can help him. Like, do I help him? Do I not help him? Do I kill him just to put him out of his misery and then he's just not my companion anymore? There's a lot of fun ways you can take this because then on top of that, if Beckett's a companion, this is only something that would happen to me or somebody else. If Beckett's my companion and I spent 200 hours with him and he's done nothing but get in the way, it's like, I'm sick. I don't know what I got to do. It's like, Beckett, let me put you out of your misery. Bang. And I don't have to worry about him anymore. And it's kind of like okay. Or it's like, man, Beckett helped me kill the Scorcher Beast Queen and the Mirelurk. I don't know if there's Mirelurks in this game. There shouldn't be, but there also is there Deathclaws? There has to be Deathclaws. There shouldn't be, but there probably is. Same with Super Mutants. But like, I don't know, like he saved my ass from like a boss or the sheep squatch, whatever, or one of the cryptids. He saved me from that. And like, I always tell that story, and he's a huge part of my game. And like, I love walking around with Beckett, and it doesn't feel like 76 unless he's with me. And then it's like, Beckett's sick. I gotta help him. And like another clan comes in, and like, what does he think about the Brotherhood? What does he think about the Enclave? There's a lot of, the best thing about the Fallout games is the world. It's the world around the subjects that happen throughout the entire game. So to have a character that is ever present and ever evolving, to not have them evolve with the game, I feel like is a disservice to the fan base that's following it. Now, I'm not saying he needs to have a Tolkien lore book that like goes with him every time a new update comes out, but you know, something to say, hey, see you at home. I love you. Make sure, like, tell your mother I said hi. Like something like that. Like just something that says like, it is what it is and it's going to continue. And not just like, hey, the new season's here. Get yourself an Unstoppables costume for cheap because of the theme or something, or a Captain Cosmos costume for cheap. That's lore.